feeling a disconnect between the unforgiving world around you and your place in it, looking for a stronger sense of belonging and meaning, Miracle Mission can provide the renewal and restoration of your mind, your spirit, and your soul that you crave. Our immersive, uplifting sessions will place you on a level of consciousness you have never before experienced, and leave you with lifelong connections and refocusing skills that will fill the empty space in your life. The Miracle Mission is one of Global Transformation Ministry's many initiatives aimed at restoring and reintegrating the spirit of our global family. Find out more about Miracle Mission at the GTM Holo site. Your world will never be the same.
Located in our hidden warrens far beneath the city, WRAT's squad of intrepid reporters infest the city, unseen and unlooked for. Combined with the magic of video, we are the eyes and ears of this metropolis, and we're here 24/365 for you.
At the Sewiston South Supermall, the mayor's kidnappers have apparently broken their silence and informed authorities of their demands. The police are not broadcasting this information, but Daniela Gresham was able to pick up the exchange on her headset. Daniela, what can you tell us?
They're not terrorists in the ordinary sense, Helen, but certainly that's the word I'd use to describe this. Here's a brief recording I was able to capture of the call that was put through to SSF about 5 minutes ago.
Mayor is a political prisoner only. He will not be harmed, at least not by us, unless our actions are interfered with. Our intent is to raise awareness of the false direction our society is taking, yet again, and of the consequences that will fall on our heads if we continue along this path. This mall is a perfect example of the grasping, self-centered lifestyle we embrace in this country, seeking personal pleasure and gratification over equality and understanding for our fellow human beings. It will not be allowed to operate. We will ensure that all activity here ceases within 1 hour. At 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the power will be severed, and certain key operational areas of the mall will be destroyed. If any attempt is made to prevent this action, Mayor Fuller and his staff will suffer.
As you can tell, this is a clear threat of violence intended to force the full evacuation of this mall. I suspect SSF will now need to divert all their efforts towards completing that evacuation. I can already see that activity underway. Most people have fled the mall since the gunfire over an hour ago, so there are not many left here to escort out. However, those who are left are reluctant to leave such a safe environment, especially since many who fled initially have doubled back after they discovered the state of things outside. SSF will have their hands full.
Any sign of the kidnappers or their captives?
I'm scanning the periphery of the lake every minute or so, and up to now... Wait, I see something now, Helen. My end of the lake, perhaps only 150 meters away. Someone moving in the trees. I'm zooming in now. He's wearing a dark bodysuit, camouflage colors, with matching hat. Rifle over his shoulder. Okay, the face is resolving. Tattoo on the cheek gives him away, Helen. Mushroom cloud.
Are you sure, Daniela? Your kidnappers are apostles of the apocalypse?
Either that, or posing as apostles. And the more violent arm of the cult, too, based on what we've seen so far.
Stay put and keep watch until the police have things in hand, Daniela. And don't let these guys know where you are. After that, get to an exit. You've done enough. Daniela? Daniela, are you okay?
A bit too late for that, I'm afraid, Helen. This guy was wearing some kind of visual enhancer. He spotted me. I wasn't about to hang around and get shot again. I'll find another place to hide and report back then.
And I think Boombox captured the mood of Daniela's predicament pretty well with that one. Their recent release, Trepidate.
We have some news from Rick Allen, who's managed to finally get beyond the city boundaries and drop down to ground level. Rick, can you update us on where you are?
I'm directly west of Sewerston, Helen, joining the flow of traffic into the city along Western Ross Way. Had to fly off the main routes entirely to find a way down. Every interchange on the X20 was locked tight, like some kind of emergency automatics kicked in that nobody knows about, cut off the skies. It may have to do with the military blockade over the riot rather than the storm. Whatever the cause, there are thousands of hovers trapped in the skies and being tossed about like toys by the winds. Reserve squads in some areas are up there trying to guide people down. A few even with enough foresight to set up traffic beacons and road diversion panels that lead vehicles to a safe descent. But even those measures are only going to help a few. You need to get the word out to anyone who's listening. All those still flying, get off the main expressways while you're at elevation. Find your way down outside the city. Do it now.
I think you just sent that message, Rick. Loud and clear. We'll repeat it at intervals to try and help those still stranded up there. What's the traffic flow like moving into the city from your direction?
Congested. Not just that, unsafe. Not so much from the winds, which are mostly blocked by buildings at this point, but from panicked drivers who are not behaving rationally. Once these hovers go off autopilot, they're susceptible to the whims of the idiot that's driving. And it seems that this emergency has brought out the idiots in droves. Most seem to have forgotten everything they ever learned about road safety. Courtesy, common sense, everything. I guess it's the freak factor. Freak people out enough, even the most level-headed turns into just another idiot. So I'm getting off the main route again as we speak. Heading a bit farther south to Aldershot. Hardly a vehicle in sight, and looks like it should be steady driving. Like I said, all common sense has fled. Or this road would be almost as busy as Western Ross.
Well, we do hope you make it without further challenge back to WRAT's underground garage, Rick. You've probably had just about enough buffeting for one day.
May not be quite over, Helen. We have a family in need just ahead. Hijacked hover, looks like. Couple of people with guns. 2 more searching the victims on the ground. Looks like they're alive, just face down on the concrete. Been a long time since I had a real chance to test these piloting skills I learned way back in the day. Might even get a chance to use a few other little tricks left over from my youth. Hang on.
And the hover's got injured. Not SSF. Why did you just abandon it? Who gives a shit? I'll take it. Car is down. You got the activator? Fuck that. This slippy asshole's not spoiling our moment.
Nervous now, buddy?
Hey, how'd you get there? You some kind of ghost?
In my day, maybe. Meantime, you act nice. Maybe you'll survive this.
Just looking to jack a nice hover, man. Storm like this, a great opportunity for...
We're terrorizing a family already in distress. Yeah, you're right.
You didn't have to hit him so hard. But well struck all the same.
I want to thank you, buddy, for saving our lives. That guy with the grenade launcher, once he got what he wanted, I don't think he'll let us live.
What can we do to thank you?
Get back in your hover and follow me. Unless you've got a secure, stormproof garage or a home shelter you can go to.
Well, we're almost home now. And
Danica, we don't have any protection there. He's talking about a vault.
Not exactly, but a secure place. About 15 minutes from here.
We'll follow you.
Jessica, Kelly, into the water. Let's go.
Just mount up and get ready.
members into the back of my hover. I'll give them all knockouts. Can you have a security team ready at the garage?
Already ordered, Rick. And welcome back to Earth.
Might take a bit longer than I thought to get to safety, Helen. There may be more scenes like this, and I kinda like it.
Just be careful, and keep us posted.
Will do.
Since we began broadcasting our warnings about the weather over 2 hours ago, many Suriston residents have heeded our advice and sought safety within the many secure weather bunkers, or storm shelters, which are integrated into the city's infrastructure. These shelters are specially designed to provide a full suite of everyday living needs for upwards of 2,000 residents in a self-sustaining, sealed environment. Many of the 200 shelters in Suriston were originally built as fallout shelters decades ago, and underwent only slight modification in their conversion to less paranoid purposes. In fact, all shelters, in addition to being airtight and self-sufficient, are deep enough below the city that they are effectively safe from nuclear attack, as well as any kind of natural disaster. Darius Elian and his family were one of the first groups to arrive at Bunker 37 during the current emergency, and Darius is called into WRAT to give us a glimpse of life inside one of these facilities. Darius, I understand you're using special privilege to access one of the buffered comm channels out of the bunker. I know many in Suriston will be interested in hearing about life in the shelter.
Adam, let me first express the gratitude of all those now in this fully locked down shelter, particularly on behalf of myself and my family, to you and your amazing team at WRAT for your vigilance and social responsibility. There are nearly 2,500 of us in Bunker 37, who very well may owe our lives to your station for the early and passionate warnings you impressed on Suriston regarding the severity of this crisis. Now that we're down here, as you can probably hear, life may be disrupted and worries about relatives and our homes may be on our minds, but the elimination of threat to our immediate families has created a mood of relative peace and comfort. People are as content as it's possible under these circumstances.
Speaking for our team, as you call us, it's good to hear that our efforts are helping the people of Suriston. That's what we're here for, and I know everyone at WRAT would echo that sentiment. Sounds like things are pretty good for those of you who made it into the bunker. Can you give us an idea what it's like?
So, I'm standing in one of the 4 common areas, a large open space about 100 meters square. This one is like a park, complete with fountains, bushes, trees, and plenty of grass. There are well-maintained walking paths and park benches for just sitting and watching the community go by. The LED lighting strips are soft and bright, simulating daylight, and they use some trick of the ceiling to make it kind of invisible, so it looks like you're just seeing sky. Honestly, you'd never know you weren't outside for a day in the park. Pretty amazing.
So what about the rest of the facility? You mentioned other common areas. And how much living space do you have?
Quarters are a little tight for anything larger than a family of 4, but it's no worse than living in a moderate-grade, self-catering hotel suite. Most people brought their own food for a day or two, so for now, we're mostly cooking for ourselves. But the facility commissioner tells me they have food capacity for all residents to last at least 3 weeks, and water is entirely recycled. In addition, they have separate food production areas that are off-limits to us regular citizens, but have capacity to grow enough quick turnaround crops to sustain the population on an ongoing basis. Likely not needed this time around. And of course, elaborate cafeterias to feed everyone. The other common areas are varied. One is a recreational area with a lake and related facilities. There's one set up as open grass marked off for sports, and finally a small nature preserve with a few deer, sheep, and cows, and a very forest-like feel. It's not like living in any bunker I've ever heard about.
What about power for all this infrastructure? Is the bunker independent?
I understand we're on the megagrid, but there's geothermal backup integrated such that the entire facility can be self-powered at reduced power levels if needed.
Sounds like quite the place. And how is the cost of all this dealt with? Do you have to pay for your stay down there?
We all register with the admin when we get down here, and they check us on the citizenship database. If our city taxes are up to date, we're good down here for up to a week with no extra costs.
Well, I'm sure all of Suriston will be lining up with even more enthusiasm next time there's a need. Thanks for reporting back on this, Darius, and enjoy your stay.
And all the very best to the rest of Suriston, Adam. This is WRAT AM1700 The RAT.
It's 4 o'clock in the Suriston megalopolis, and here's what's making news this hour.